coaches, athletes, fitness freaks, I guess. We're going to go through a training walkthrough, a training session today. Today's training session, we have some A's, B's, C's, D's, and then an E at the very bottom. The E is the conditioning. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some time just to kind of briefly go through some of the pieces that you see here and kind of why they're here. Like, what are some of the whys behind it? So the A's typically for me when I program are going to be some corrective exercises and some basic warm-up stuff. Typically, I like to do some core work in there just to get the core temperature up. But today we have A1, A2, A3, and they're predominantly upper body driven, right? So I have the unbroken strict pull-ups with suggestion of 5 reps with 4-1-X2, which is just essentially we're looking for a really slow eccentric, and then a pause when your chin is over the bar, right? I'm not going to go into like tempos and order and what slot stands for what, and if you don't understand those things, feel free to reach out. I'd love to have a conversation with you, but all the athletes and clients that I work with have a pretty good understanding of that stuff. But so we're looking for some eccentric loading, and then obviously really stimulating some of those upper back muscles with that 2-second hold at the top. Single arm dumbbell overhead squats. Now for this person specifically, this is not supposed to be super heavy, super challenging. This is part of warm up, part of a prep. I know that this person struggles in this position with ankle flexibility, mobility, shoulder overhead mobility, all that kind of stuff. So this is literally just to help them prime the movement pattern and hopefully try to move a little bit better in a low stress environment. Some trap raises. So here we also have some mid back and rotator cuff activation work. Okay, so that's kind of like the main focus of the warm up. And B's, we have snatch, grip, jerks. Ooh, 3 repetitions times 5 sets, heavy. The goal is to go same weight across. So this is actually building off of last week. Last week we did the same thing. I think it was times 3 times 7, except this week the goal is that it's pretty much the same weight across all sets, and it's supposed to be challenging. Now, the reason why we would jerk in a snatch grip, and for this person specifically, it's because their catch in the snatch is not great. Okay, so when they're snatching, their pull looks good, they're extending through the bar good, they're pulling under really good, and then they're having a hard time catching the load overhead. The shoulders just aren't catching strong. So we primed a lot of those muscles in the warm-up, but here we have the opportunity to kind of overload a snatch grip position and just train that position and make that catch position stronger. So that's kind of the purpose behind that. Finally, we have the Sotts Press, which is supposed to be snatch grip Sotts Press as well. 4 repetitions times 7 sets. So getting some volume here. I know this person's Sotts Press is terrible. They need work here. So they also have a tempo 2-2-2-2, which essentially just means nice and smooth. 2 seconds on the way down, 2-second pause at the bottom, 2 seconds on the way back up, and then finally 2-second pause at the very top. Kind of just slow, methodical, owning the positions. Okay. Sotts Press. If you guys haven't done this, check it out. But here, this is an accessory lift to the snatch. Again, this is kind of reinforcing the catch. You're in the bottom of the snatch, and you're just kind of pressing the barbell overhead. Going back to the snatch grip jerk, the goal really here is to overload that catch position like I was mentioning before, but whatever your best snatch is, let's just say it's 200 pounds, we want to be snatch grip jerking significantly more than that, at least the 110% range, just to overload that position. Okay, so moving on, we have D's, which is deadlifting, some volume work. We have kind of this athlete's going through kind of a modified Wendler right now. But right now we're going into kind of an actualization phase with strength. So this person has been working on strength work since last fall, since 2018 in the fall, where they went through a really good hypertrophy phase. Then they went into some 10 by 10s, just building tons of volume, really good base work. And then from there, they went into a bit of a deload and then into a couple other variations of some pretty traditional volume overload programs, squat programs, and we ran some similar things with some shoulder work as well too. So this is kind of just a program that's been layered on top of layers and layers and layers of prep work in order to get us here. So ultimately, all of these reps and all these percentages here, we're just priming the movement pattern. And for me, all the clients that I work with, they're stopping and resetting at the bottom of their deadlift. So that's so that the pull off the floor is hard each and every single time. That's how we can develop some serious strength in that deadlift, or serious strength in the whole organism as a whole. Okay. Obviously, stopping the bottom makes that lift significantly harder, but these are all just reps for our CNS, for our nervous system, kind of just find good positions, learn how to work through them really well. And then finally, we're doing 90% times 3 reps plus, meaning we're going to do a rep, bring the bar, control the bar back down, do another rep, control the bar back down, do another rep, control the bar back down, and keep doing that until essentially you reach failure. Okay, obviously that's going to fry the central nervous system, so enough rest is necessary before going into the E section. Whoa. And then finally we have kind of like a mixed modal piece here. Now this is important. Mixed modal just means multiple domains kind of mixed all together. So you have some cyclical work or monostructural work, which is your classic run, bike, swim, row, anything kind of like that, and you have some gymnastics work in here as well. Note that there is no barbell work, and part of that is to give the body, the organism, a little bit of a recover after all the barbell work they did before. So it was pretty much, other than the A's, the B's, the C's, and the D's were all barbell work, and then we're going into this piece here. Now, this is after actually sitting down and having a great consult with this client. We're kind of talking about some of the good, some of the bad of the programming, what can we do better, that kind of stuff. And some of the things that we kind of unpacked were that this person, this athlete, has great proficiency in like just a 12-minute time or 12-minute AMRAP, and it's like 973, just cyclical, just keep going. However, this person was like, I don't know how to respond when I'm faced with big sets sometimes. Like I feel like I'm such a good pacer that I can break up 15s well, I can break up 10s, 7, 3, whatever. That stuff's good. But all of a sudden we start getting into bigger sets. I'm like, how do I break this up? So this is actually a great example of just kind of creating an environment where this person can test themselves in these big chunks, take a look at what they did, understand what they did, say this was good, this was bad, learn from it, and then try to make it better the second time through. So here's what we have: is we have 50 calories on the assault bike, followed by 30 bar-facing burpees. So there's no time cap on that. There's no AMRAP. He has to do that work. Then finally, when he's done with that, he has a 4-minute rest period, which is a decent amount of rest, followed by 30 toes to bar. It's like, how are you going to break up 30 toes to bar? Okay, if we're doing 15, we might break up into 8-7. Now all of a sudden we're at 30. What does that number look like? And then for anybody that's done high volume toes to bar, we know that the toes to bar has a tendency to break down really hard, really fast once you cross a certain threshold. Okay. But note also the arms are overhead in the toes to bar. Then we go right from toes to bar into ring muscle ups. That's 15 ring muscles. Like, my goodness, how do you break that up, especially when your grip is kind of smoked, your arms have been over your head? This person is very proficient at ring muscle ups. If this was half of this, 15 and 8, I would imagine this would be unbroken. Okay, so here it's like, oh, how does this athlete kind of navigate this, what I would call them like a movement problem, right? Specific to a sport, which sport is kind of CrossFit or functional fitness, whatever you want to call it. How does this athlete navigate this? Rest 4 minutes. This 4-minute rest is a lot of rest. Be like, oh my gosh, that's too much rest for these people. They need to be going harder, faster. No. I gave him a movement problem, and now I want him to take some time to reflect on that movement problem, the 30-15, and go, what could I have done better? How could I have attacked that better, right? When reps and sets get bigger, how do I navigate that? The beautiful thing about this is once he finishes this here, he gets to rest 4 minutes, he gets to do it again. He gets to do it all over again, okay? Then we go back, we go 50 calories on the bike. Hopefully we're sustaining some sort of like threshold watts or RPMs or whatever else. Like, what's the line that is going to get this person done and get them to the bar facing burpees feeling fresh enough to move through these well? What's that line? What's over that line, and then what's underneath that line, and we want to ride that line really, really finely. Moving right into the bar facing burpees, same concept. What is that tempo? What does that pace look like? How is this person moving up and down around the bar? Now, I'm a big proponent of this. Is you have to be there's biomechanic efficiency, right, and then there's bioenergetic efficiency. So we want this person to have good technique while he's doing this, but on top of that, we want to condition that good technique. So if this takes 3 minutes or 3 seconds, 4 seconds, whatever it takes, I want this to be consistent from rep 1 to rep 28 to rep 30. I want all of them to look exactly the same. I don't want them to be, I wouldn't want someone to be confused if they looked at rep 1 and rep 30 and be like, oh my gosh, there's a massive difference. I want them to look exactly the same. That's called biomechanic and bioenergetic efficiency. 4 minutes of rest after the second time through. Then we go into this, having an idea, okay, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. How am I going to navigate these 30? I got a chance to do it last time. How am I going to navigate these 30 into 15 ring muscle ups? Okay, rest, done, finish. That's the training session for the day. A, B, C, D, and E. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time.